But as swelling crowds flock into new Union terminals, as the lure of the Streamliner stimulates traffic on every type of train, looming before the industry today.
The Pioneer Zephyr is a diesel-powered railroad train formed of railroad cars permanently articulated together with Jacobs bogies, built by the Budd Company in 1934 for the Chicago, Burlington and Quincy Railroad, CB&Q, commonly known as the Burlington. The train featured extensive use of stainless steel, was originally named the Zephyr, and was meant as a promotional tool to advertise passenger rail service in the United States. The construction included innovations such as shot welding, a specialized type of spot welding, to join the stainless steel, and articulation to reduce its weight.
New speed, new refinements become the keynote of railroad endeavor. To increase
The 20th Century Limited was an express passenger train on the New York Central Railroad, NYC, from 1902 to 1967, advertised as the most famous train in the world. In the year of its last run, the New York Times said that it was known to railroad buffs for 65 years as the world's greatest train. The train traveled between Grand Central Terminal, GCT, in New York City and LaSalle Street Station in Chicago, Illinois, along the railroad's water-level route.
Efficiency and catch the public eye, streamlining enters railroading. One road so disregards tradition that it goes to a private industrial designer, receives plans for a train which is ultra-modern, and so fleet that it will actually challenge airplane time between Cleveland and Detroit.
Mercury was the name used by the New York Central Railroad for a family of daytime Streamliner passenger trains operating between Midwestern cities. The Mercury train sets were designed by the noted industrial designer Henry Dreyfuss, and are considered a prime example of Art Deco design. The success of the Mercury led to Dreyfuss getting the commission for the 1938 redesign of the NYC's flagship, the 20th Century Limited, one of the most famous trains in America.
Whether the new low rates will prove but a costly experiment, or whether 2 cents a mile will provide enough revenue for the upkeep of the railroad's brave new world. Time marches on.
Locomotive number 3768 was clad in a shroud designed by famed industrial designer Raymond Loewy in February 1936. This was a very concealing, enveloping streamlined casing which hid most of the functionality of the steam locomotive, leading to its nickname of the torpedo by train crews. At first, the locomotive was not painted in standard dark green locomotive enamel, DGLE, but instead in a bronze color. It was later refinished in DGLE. A matching tender ran on unusual 6-wheel trucks. Like most streamlined steam locomotives, the shrouds impeded maintenance and the covers over the wheels were later removed. For a time, the locomotive was the preferred engine for the Broadway Limited.
The height of streamlining as it streams down the line. The engineer controls 3,600 horsepower. The Super Chief is half the weight of an ordinary train. For the passengers, it's a fast pace, power plus lightness. And the first run from Chicago to Los Angeles takes 36 hours, a day and a half. Average speed 64 miles an hour. And on one stretch, the Super Chief hits it up at 100.
Competitors to the Super Chief were the City of Los Angeles on the Chicago and Northwestern Railway and the Union Pacific Railroad, and, to a lesser extent, the Golden State on the Rock Island in Southern Pacific. The Santa Fe Super Chief was one of the last passenger trains in the United States to carry an all-pullman consist. Only the Pennsylvania Railroad's Broadway Limited and the Illinois Central's Panama Limited survived longer. The train maintained its high level of service until the end of Santa Fe passenger operations on May 1, 1971. When Amtrak took over operation of the nation's passenger service on May 1, 1971, the 35-year run of the Super Chief on the Santa Fe ended, though Amtrak used the name on the same route for 3 years. In 1974 the Santa Fe withdrew permission to use the name due to a perceived decline in service, so Amtrak renamed it Southwest Limited. Following the delivery of new superliner equipment, the Santa Fe allowed Amtrak to call it the Southwest Chief in 1984.